Hello everybody, I hope you're doing safe and well. My name is Shashwat and I'm going to be your drum instructor. I've been learning the drums since 2009, so I have 11 years experience learning. I've been performing since 2012, about 8 years, and I've been teaching the drums since 2017. Apart from performing, I've also been recording and writing my own music. I've been writing drum parts. So rather than just teaching you how to play the drums, I also specialize in teaching you how to write drum parts, which is a very different skill and a very useful skill to have when, in any term, in any sense of performing, if you're playing the drums or you're playing a percussion instrument, writing drums and innovating on the drum kit is a very, very useful skill to have. Anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about percussion and drums. So I'm going to show you a few instruments that fall under this larger family of drums and rhythmic instruments. So to get us started, I have here with me a very, very small, simple little instrument that's called the egg shaker. This is a very good example of how rhythm can be created even with a smaller size. You don't always need a massive drum kit. Rhythm is present everywhere. And, let's just see what this sounds like, this little thing here. Right? This little thing has these tiny little beads inside it, and with the very smallest of instruments here, we see how we can create rhythm and rhythmic patterns and sounds everywhere, right? This is still something pretty new. Why don't I show you something we might all be familiar with? The ghungru. As you can see, this is another rhythmic instrument that's often used in Indian dancing, right? The traditional dance in India. And I'm sure many of you all are familiar with this. You've seen dancers wearing tying this around their feet, right? And this also gives a really nice sound. You can get a good beat out of this as well. See? So as you can see, we have rhythm and drums all around us. Now these are still very commonplace instruments. Let me show you a few other ones, really cool ones that I have lying around here with me. Now this here is what we call a bongo because it's got two drums. A three drum would be called a congo. Yeah, so this is a bongo set. Yeah, as you can see, we've got these tuning keys here, and these change the pitch of the sound. So if we have this one here, if I tune it to the left, if I turn the key to the left, it changes the pitch. And this is something that we'll even see in drum sets. So tuning keys is especially important. Yeah, we'll get back to this later when we're looking at our drum kit as well. And this is a bongo set. So if you all have this lying around with you all, if you have access to this is a very, very good place to get started with learning rhythm. This is in fact how I got started as well, because we have very simple rhythmic patterns we can do here. So even if you try something like this, yeah, I just did a simple right, left, right, right, left. These are the little ways that we talk about our rhythms and the way we're going to be learning our rhythms. So let's get used to this language as well. Yeah? Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, right, left. If you don't have one of these, it's perfectly fine. We're going to be talking later about how we can use, just things around us, even like the snaps and claps. We can use stuff like that as well to create rhythms. So we're going to be doing that as well. Don't worry if you don't have this. It's just to give you an idea of the different kinds and sizes of drums that are available. Now this, what we have here, is a djembe. This is an African traditional instrument, again a percussive instrument that again has this hole in the bottom. Yeah, this is what produces a much larger sound, and this is played very similarly to a bongo, where the center and the rim or the edge produce two very different kinds of sounds. Let me show it to you. Now this here is a very different kind of instrument. It is again a percussive instrument, even though it just looks like a very plain and simple box. This in fact is the traditional cajon drum. And again, it produces two different kinds of sounds. So in terms of application, the bongo, the djembe, and now this, the cajon, are very similar in that they give two-tone sounds. So they are in the percussive family with the drums, but the way we play them is slightly different. Here, let me show you how we play the cajon. It's interesting because this is a drum that you actually have to sit on, and this is the kind of sound it gives. The center gives one sound, and the edge again gives a different kind of sound. Let me demonstrate. So as we can see, these were all just examples of what falls under the percussive instrument family. Now something that you may have noticed is that they all differ in size, and that in fact has a bearing on the pitch of the instrument. Let me give you an example. Let's take a look at our bongos again. As you can see that one is definitely larger than the other. Now when a drum is big in size, it produces a low pitch sound. What is a low pitch sound? Okay, have a look. And the smaller one produces a high pitch sound. So as you can see, the size of the drum is very, very important to the kind of sound it's going to produce. And that, of course, will have a huge bearing on when we move on to our drum set. Now let's take a quick look at the parts of a drum set. So with me here, I have an electronic drum kit. Now, an electronic drum kit is very, very similar to an acoustic kit in terms of the sound that's produced by the kit, as well as the placement of the drums themselves. Now the parts of a drum are as follows. The very first part here is what's called the snare drum. It produces this really high pitched loud crack like sound. Let me demonstrate here. Next, we'll be focusing on the toms of a drum kit. The toms are a very, very essential part of a drum kit. In most drum kits, there are three kinds of toms: the high tom, the mid tom, and the low tom. So let me demonstrate what the three toms sound like. To begin with, the high tom, the mid tom, and the low tom. So as you can see, the pitch goes from highest at the high tom to lowest at the low tom. Next, we will be looking at the kick drum. The bass drum, or the kick drum as it's popularly called, is called so because it's one of the two parts of the drums that's used playing our feet and not our hands. Yeah? So the bass drum or the kick drum has a pedal here. As you can see at my right foot is going to be playing. It also is the largest part of the drum, which is why it hence has the lowest pitch. If you guessed that right, then very good, you're already here with us. Next, we have here with us a hi-hat, which in fact is the first of the two cymbals we're going to be using in the drum kit, and that symbol is CYMBAL, cymbal. Yeah. Now cymbals are usually metallic. The you might have seen them. They're like these two plates, almost, if you want to call them that they're put together. And this, in fact, is the second instrument I was talking about in the drums that uses our feet as well as hands. Yeah. So we have with us a hi-hat pedal, which is here with my left foot. As I press down on it, you will get what's called a chick sound. And the hi-hat, of course, can also be played with our hands. As you open up the pedal with our foot, you hear the hi-hat opening up as well. And the last part of the drum here is our second cymbal, which is called the crash cymbal. Yeah, this is our crash cymbal, and this is how it sounds. Okay, so now that we're clear with the drum kit and the parts of the drum kit, let's talk about drumsticks. With me here, I have really simple wooden sticks. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you must have seen these or even held these, tried using them at some point. Yeah. Now, the one mistake that most new drummers make, and I have to say I made too earlier, was that I didn't give enough importance to how I held the stick. So let's just quickly take a look at that. Yeah. So now we have our drumstick here. What you should try to do is say this is the middle of the stick. Try holding it a little under the middle. So here we have our drumstick. Let's try holding it here, just under the middle. As you can see, there's a black line here. That's the center of the drumstick. Try holding it under. Okay? And the second mistake that most people make is that they try to hold the stick very tightly so it doesn't fly off. But this is the worst mistake that you can make on a drum kit. I'll tell you why. Because the drumstick needs to be held very loosely. You need to hold it in such a way that you have easy access to moving the stick in as varied a motion as possible. Which means you have to let the bottom of the stick, try to leave it as loose as possible. Yeah? And the best way to do that, the trick that I use, and I've seen many drummers using this, is always hold the stick with just two fingers. So that's your index finger and your thumb. And now I know this may sound a little crazy to everybody. You know, you're scared that the stick might fly off or hurt you, but don't worry. I assure you that won't happen. I'll tell you why. Because you have to hold the grip with these two fingers very tightly and use the remaining three fingers as support under. Now what happens is, as you can see, when I'm going to play, the bottom of the stick is fully open, which gives me a lot of room for movement. And that is something we will be utilizing a lot. Because what happens is, if you hold the stick very tightly, I have to move my entire hand for that same movement that two of my fingers were getting me. You have to let the stick balance in such a way, and what happens is when the stick is balanced like this, as you can see, the movement is very, very free and relaxed. There's no tension in your hand, and there's, you use this, and it will make it very, very simple later on to play faster and play in a more agile manner. Because this, as you can see already here, I can feel it. There's a lot of tension in my hand. There's a lot of tension in my wrist, because now I have to use my whole hand starting from the elbow here, and this is a very, very bad grip to have in the long run. If you want to play the drums easily and enjoy doing so without harming your body in any way, always make sure that you're holding with just two fingers and using the remaining three to support it. Okay, so now that we've gotten used to our grip and the way we're going to be moving, let's try and doing some very, very simple rhythmic exercises. Okay, nothing complicated. This is just a very, very simple basic exercise. Now with me here, I have what's called practice pad. It's just a simple felt pad. Okay, doesn't make any sound. It's just used by all drummers to get a feel of playing the drums without any sound. It's a very, very good form of practice that's used by many, many people across the world. And if you don't have a practice pad, that's perfectly fine. If you want, you can order one, or you can do this exercise very simply by just playing on a table with your sticks. Or even if you don't want to do that, you can just do this by snapping. Okay, the whole point of the exercise is getting used to the coordination and the language that I mentioned earlier, right? Of getting used to just talking in right and left. Okay, so we're going to be using right hand, the left hand, the right foot, and the left foot. We're going to get into feet later. Let's just talk about our hands for now. Okay, so the first rhythmic pattern we're going to be doing is very simply just right, left, right, left. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right. You can do this as slow as you want, because we just want to get used to playing a pattern for now. We don't want to talk about playing fast or playing to a particular tempo. I just want you to play this at whatever speed you feel is comfortable for you, and get used to the pattern of right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Now as you can see here, it's very, very important and crucial to make sure that you don't change your grip at any point. Let me show you here how important that grip is. If I was holding the stick in a very clenched fist, it would be very difficult. I'd have to use my full hand, as you can see here. Right? Now I'm bending at my elbow, which we just discussed is very bad for you long run. It may not hurt now, but in the future it could damage your elbow. So you have to be very careful of how you're holding the stick. When you hold with two fingers and move just at your wrist, as you can see, I'm doing the same exercise, and now it's just my wrist that's moving. My hands are very relaxed on the side, and I'm just moving my wrist. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. This is our first exercise. I hope you got a little more comfortable around the drums. I hope this was an interesting introduction class. And keep practicing this. I'll see you in the next class.